Let's see now. Okay, good afternoon and welcome. Let's see now. Wait a minute, that's not the background I had. Did I have a moving background? Okay, good afternoon and welcome. Wait a minute, that's not the background. Let's get this together. Sorry about that, guys. Moving background. See if I can get. Okay, good afternoon and welcome. Let's get this together. Sorry about that, guys.
Good afternoon and welcome once again to Wave Your Grades, coming to you live
everything
on
KUAW.org,
emanating from the WEB Du Bois Learning Center right here in Kansas City, Missouri,
going on than I thought we were
where the founder and president and serving us as an engineer and producer, Louis George Walker.
Okay, let's stop Wave Your Grades.
Where the founder and president and serving us as an engineer and producer, Louis George Walker.
All right. Man, I tell you, this is getting this started today has been kind of interesting. How are you guys doing? I still have something going in the background. I don't know if it's playing a repeat. Let's see. Man, I tell you, this. I'm gonna have to shut that down. All right. Man, okay, we're here. This is the BFTAA and More show. I am your host, Louis George Walker, as we're working with the controls and trying to do different things. It sometimes gets to be fun here. But you're joining the BFTAA and More show. As I said, my name is George Walker, and I'm glad to be with you today or this afternoon. Glad that you could join us. The BFTAA and More show is brought to you by the Black Family Technology Awareness Association in Kansas City, Missouri, in partnerships with the WEB Du Bois Learning Center. So we come together and we formed a radio station called Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. That is abbreviated as KUAW. So KUAW Radio is that partnership. So we're glad to be with you today. And we've got a lot of things to go over. It's been a busy day. I tell you, the last couple of hours I've been doing this, that, and the other. Don't know if I'm coming or going, but I'm glad to be with you guys. We're working on some new intros for some of our shows. We're trying to beef some things up. As you know, we've been broadcasting from a remote location since our studio was damaged and with water and stuff in the freezing months, I think back at the end of February. And we've been broadcasting while the building was getting repaired. And I got word today that they're moving closely to getting all of the pipes fixed and things going. So hopefully in the next month or so, I think by October, definitely, we should be back into our regular studio. So we've been doing a lot of Zoom interviews, and you see us just in the small box here, but we're just glad to be coming to you anyway. We want to thank all of the people that have been sticking with us, all of our loyal audience that listen to the radio station on the audio side and on the video side. Now, you can listen to us in different ways. On the audio side, if you have a a smart speaker, you can tell it to play KUAW radio and it'll play, whether it's Google or Amazon or whatever. Just tell it to play KUAW and you will hear us. You'll hear what's going on now. We broadcast 24 hours a day. Let me make sure that I'm going out on the radio side right now. And I'm not sure that I am. Let's see, what do we got going on here? There's always another little trick or something going on. Looks like I am quiet. And I should not be. Got all my ducks in a row here. And it doesn't look like the sound is going out on that. That's not good. We're always running into one thing or another. So we've been doing it out on the radio. and haven't had a problem, and now it looks like the radio side wants to give us a little bit of a hiccup. I got to see what's going on. I may have to work with that later. I'm going to have to start another show on the radio side then, because I'm not going out on it. That's really strange, because it's been working all week just fine. And I don't think we should be having a problem here. But I think that we are, as far as the radio side. Let me listen. Excuse me. Be right back. I want to check this out for sure. Yeah, it doesn't seem that we are going out on our audio side for some reason or another, so I'm going to switch it back to its local broadcasting, if I possibly can. There. We're putting something out on it now. I'll have to go back and investigate what the problem is with my broadcast going out on it. So, I tell you, it seems like the gremlins are at work. Anything that can go wrong has been going wrong. I'm going to take a little bit of time to go back there and watch it. But yeah, one of the things that we do is we like to bring you up on what's going on with technology and information around the city and here and around the world. We're going to talk a little bit today about the 5G revolution that's going on. I know a lot of you are seeing when you get a phone that says 5G and you say, what is 5G? We don't know. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Afghanistan and the Taliban. So just covering a few different bases. But the first thing we want to do is to bring into what's going on with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So one of the shows that we always... that doesn't sound right. One of the things that we always do is give you what's going on at the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. So we'll be doing that right now, and I'll be right back. Also, I'll be checking to see if I can figure out what's going on with some of these sounds. So we'll see what's going on this week at NASA. Hang in there with me. We're going to get it together. But let's check out what's going on this week at NASA.
Highlighting an upcoming Earth-observing mission, the science on the next resupply mission to the space station, and testing a new material to help future spacecraft land on distant worlds. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. We launched a new interactive website highlighting Landsat 9. The joint NASA and U.S. Geological Survey satellite mission is targeted for launch September 16th from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base. Landsat 9 will continue the program's critical role in monitoring, understanding, and managing land resources, such as agricultural crops, water, and forests needed to sustain human life. For more details, visit nasa.gov/Landsat9. The next SpaceX resupply mission to the International Space Station will carry a variety of NASA science investigations, including a study on preventing and treating bone density loss, an investigation aimed at detecting and mitigating vision disorders, and a new robotic arm demonstration that has potential uses on Earth, including for disaster relief. The mission is currently targeted for launch August 28th from our Kennedy Space Center in Florida. The team working on the umbrella-like Adaptable Deployable Entry and Placement Technology, or ADEPT heat shield design to deliver science payloads on future missions to Mars and beyond, is testing out a new material called Spiderweave. It is a woven fabric they think will improve the integrity of the heat shield and make it safer for larger vehicles to safely pass through the atmospheres of more distant locations. On August 19th, we observed the 100th birthday of late Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry with a panel discussion about the groundbreaking show's legacy of inspiration, hope, and diversity. His son Rod Roddenberry moderated the panel, which included Star Trek actor and activist George Takei, as well as members of NASA's diverse workforce. Opening remarks for the event were provided by NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. It also featured a 1976 recording in which Gene Roddenberry talked about the impact he hoped the show would have on diversity and inclusion.
The whole show was an attempt to say that humanity will reach maturity and wisdom on the day that it begins not just to tolerate, but to take a special delight in differences in ideas and differences in life forms.
We transmitted Roddenberry's recorded remarks into space through the agency's Deep Space Network as the panel discussion was happening. Astronomers have spotted a group of young stars and star-forming gas clouds sticking out of one of our Milky Way galaxy's spiral arms like a splinter from a piece of lumber. This previously unrecognized feature of the galaxy's Sagittarius arm stretches some 3,000 light-years and was found with help from NASA's Spitzer Space Telescope prior to its retirement in January 2020. We invited you to join us in celebrating National Aviation Day on August 19th by using the hashtag National Aviation Day to share your celebrations online. The annual observance also falls on the birthday of Orville Wright, the very first pilot of an airplane. Every U.S. aircraft and air traffic control facility uses NASA-developed technology. Learn more about our groundbreaking aeronautics research at nasa.gov/flight. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more on these and other stories, follow us on the web at nasa.gov/twan.
All right. So yeah, we're back. Kind of glad that we got that together. Let's see if we can get it where you can hear me. Hello. Okay, yeah, there we are. All right, yeah, so we're back, and I think I worked on our little problem. Well, I thought I had it working. It was going there. You may can hear me out there now. The NASA part went out over the radio waves just fine, but I don't see that it's going out when I'm talking, and that's really kind of odd because I don't know that there should be a difference in what's going on at different times. I'll see if my mixer is right. Yeah, it's set up right. So it's something with this microphone that for some reason today, it doesn't want to have the output going right. Let's see. Monitor is off. Let me turn the monitor on. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. Man, I tell you, there's always a bunch of buttons to push and things to go on to try and get this sound going out right. And I've got it going out right now. I don't know how that monitor got turned off, but we got it back on. So if you guys are listening, as I was going to say before, you can listen to us on the audio only side, which was acting up and you wouldn't have heard us. But on the audio only side, you can pick us up on KUAW.org. If you go there, there'll be a screen. There's a lot of radio buttons over on the right-hand side. You can pick us up on MyTuner, on Online Radio Bot, on TuneIn app. If you have the TuneIn app on your smartphone or on your tablet, you can go there. And you can also pick us up on Radio Garden. Now, when we do videos like this, you can also pick us up, and we do a lot of different videos, and you can check out old shows if you go back on our playlist on the YouTube page or on Facebook. But you can pick us up on Facebook at KUAW Space Radio. Now on Facebook, it's KUAW-Radio. We're getting ready to change those both to be the same. But KUAW-Radio on Facebook, KUAW Space Radio on YouTube. You can also pick us up on the Twitter. So if you go to Twitter and put in KUAW Radio, you'll hear us and see us. We're video and live. And also if you go to Twitch. So if you're a Twitch user, a gamer or something, you might want to go there. So those are some of the ways you can pick us up. We're trying to get more ways that you'll get able to see this show. Maybe we'll be on Roku before long, but right now we're having enough time just trying to handle what we've got. And it's been a job. But we love it. And glad that you are sticking with us. Now, for those of you watching, we've showed you what's happening in NASA. And now, as we always do, we bring you more from NASA. We have one that's called Space to Ground. And this is another broadcast from NASA. Let's see if I can find it on here. I think I may have been using, oh, there it is. So let's watch now from NASA this week's Space to Ground. All right, all right. So we're glad that you guys were able to check that out. That is Space to Ground. As they finish up today. All right, all right. Yeah, Space to Ground. And we bring that to you every week of things going on from the International Space Station. We like to get the young minds and old minds that are interested in the science and technology so that you can see some of the things that are going on. And NASA is a good way to stay up on different things that are happening. There's a lot of things going on in space exploration that benefit us here on Earth. Plus, it provides jobs. So to have kids in that educational field and research and development for exploration into the outer reaches of the solar system and even of just this atmosphere is really a good thing. So we bring that to you every week. What's going on this week at NASA and also Space to Ground. So if you want to stay up on what's happening, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. So be sure and contact KUAW Radio on Facebook, or you can email us at KUAW985@gmail.com. Or on Facebook, you can hit us up, KUAW-radio, and let us know what you think about the space programs, about seeing about NASA, what's going on at NASA. And if you have any questions or you want to talk about that further, we would definitely appreciate it. We're promoting STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. That's what the Black Family Technology Awareness Association does. Our original goal was just to make sure that all homes were equipped with a computer with broadband internet so that people could have access to the technology and to the world that comes through the internet, because that is where a lot of learning and knowledge, information is being sent right now. So Black Family Technology Awareness was formed to help equip those in our community that aren't taking advantage of the internet, aren't taking advantage of the technology to improve their lives, their standard of living, for entertainment, for vacationing, for saving money, for investing money, for all the things that you can do by having internet connections. And that is very important as we go forward. I know a lot of people, especially in my age group, says, well, I made it this long without the internet. I can get a little farther. And that's true. You can live right now without the internet. There's a lot of people that are living off the grid. It's not impossible. But if we want to really be involved in the society and the community now, having the internet is the way that helps us do that. It's not the only way. You still need face-to-face communications, but you need to have the internet, or you should have, not that you have to, but you should have the internet to help you bring in a lot of different information and to get information out to others. This is a way we can communicate. We communicate with like-minded people and some people that are not like-minded with us, but all around the world. This radio station right now can be picked up in China, in Russia, in Japan, in South Africa, in Kenya, in Egypt. In all of those places, they can be listening to us right now. They can interact with us right now. They can hit our Facebook page up. So those are things that are very important for the world, for us to share information with each other. So if you know someone, if you're one that's just listening to it on the radio right now or listening to us on your Bluetooth speaker, you may want to invest into a good tablet or a Chromebook or even a computer if you want to. Now, things have changed from when we first started this. This program started in 2004, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We got our 501c3 in 2005. We've been putting on events. We've been working with kids all of that time. So we're pushing towards 20 years of doing what we do. But when we first started, it was real important just to get the internet to your house and having a desktop computer, and they were a lot slower, not as advanced as they are now. Smartphones weren't even invented when we started. You had a cell phone and you had pagers, back in 2004. So things have come a long way to where now most people don't even have a desktop. They may have a laptop. They've got a tablet. They've got a smartphone. So those are the primary things that people get on the internet with. But we have to know that it's still very important for our kids, for our young people, to have good access to the internet. And I mean high-speed access. You need to have more than, the dial-ups that we used to use. And even 3 or 4 megabits of speed is maybe not, it can work, but it's not maybe the best way to do it. You need to have a high-speed internet, somewhere at least around 25 megabits of download is good. And that makes it where it runs a lot better if you're doing videos or if you're watching videos or you're looking at shows. But, the kids over the pandemic, when it first started, we found out that a lot of homes in the inner city, in underserved areas, and in rural parts of the United States weren't able to get online. And that was a big detriment. They weren't able to get online. They couldn't keep up with their schoolwork. They had to scramble to try and get things together. And henceforth, since they weren't online much, their teachers hadn't been worried about doing a lot of online teaching because their students weren't online. So why learn how to do online teaching if you can't teach it to anybody? So the school teachers in the inner city and a lot of underserved areas hadn't prepared for a world of online learning. Well, it's been more than a year and people kind of got into it, and now we're going back to school. But I hope as we go back to school, we don't forget about online learning, that we should be pressing our teachers to say we still want to make sure that our kids are connected. We need to press the businesses and the technology community that we still need to have broadband widely available in the urban core, in the rural areas of America. So just because everybody's going back to school face to face doesn't mean that the problems that we saw and that we found out about with the internet and with access go away. So we need to stay on the school board, stay on the teachers. They still should be learning how to do some of their lessons online. There should be a way that kids can keep up if they have to miss school for a week or 2 weeks, that it's online, that it's happening that way, that there's a mixture, it's hybrid learning, that there'll be some in classroom, but there'll be still some online work. Those are things that we can't say, oh, well, it's all over with now. And who knows, we've got this Delta variant and they say another one, Lambda or something may be coming. We may end up back in a lockdown. So it's not a time to drop down our guard and say, oh, well, that problem's over with. We don't, really need to work that hard on getting the internet in all these schools or to have it in my house because my kids are back in school now. No, there's still a lot of homework. There's still research and stuff that your kids need to be doing. And the internet would help them to do it. It's not impossible to do it by going to the library or on the computers at school, but they need to have a powerful computer and internet access at home. So parents out there, guardians, whoever you may be, don't take this as a time to say we don't have to worry about that internet thing anymore. No, we still need to pay our bill for our internet service so they don't cut it off. We still need to see about having a laptop or tablets or something available for our kids to use. You can even buy Chromebooks because a lot of this learning now is not that they have to have a program on their computer. They just need to go to the internet. Chromebooks are really good for that. They don't have a lot of memory or storage capabilities, but they can get on the internet. And you can download stuff if you've got like a thumb drive or something to put in there, and it can save it to it. So you can still use it, and you can buy brand new Chromebooks for $250, under $300. So that's something that you need to be looking at for your family, for your kids. And those that have multiple kids in the family, you may need 2 or 3 of them. And that's why you need high-speed internet, too. One of the things we did find out through this pandemic thing was that some households had a computer and they had internet, but they had 2 or 3 kids. Well, it's kind of hard to go to 3 different classes on one computer. Yeah, it's come to that now. So that you may have to have more than one computer in the house. And most households with children and parents have more than one, and they all don't have to be computers. You may get tablets. Tablets are a little cheaper. Some of the work that they do may be able to be done on a tablet. On some of the Amazon has a tablet that's inexpensive. I think you can start off on them for under $100. You know, so if you've got the internet at your house and you've got Wi-Fi in your house, you need to be getting the things to connect to it. And more things are connected to it. One of the stories that we're going to talk about in a few minutes is the connectivity that is coming on. So that's my spiel right now about you needing to be on the internet. Now, the other thing that we want to talk about is in the news is what's going on over in Afghanistan. Afghanistan was the country that, if you remember back 20 years ago or better, that gave refuge to Osama bin Laden. And from there, he directed the attacks on the World Trade Center on 9/11. Those people were there. They planned it there in Afghanistan, and they launched it or gave the okay, and we lost thousands of people. It was devastating to the United States. And at that time, we wanted revenge. Yeah, we wanted to get it, you know, we might say it's not good, but that's what we wanted. We wanted to get the people that did it. And we basically didn't care about if we got them dead or alive. So we went to Afghanistan. The Taliban were in charge then. And we went there and said, you know, hey, you got to give us bin Laden and all his people that are working there, because we know that they were involved in this. They've been traced to that. And the Taliban wouldn't do it. They weren't going to turn him over. And the United States at that time says, well, we'll come and get him. And that's what started the Afghanistan war, or the war in Afghanistan with the Taliban. And we actually invaded Afghanistan, and we brought prisoners. We didn't get Osama bin Laden then, but we got a lot of his Al-Qaeda network, and they were taken to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, which is a U.S. installation on the island of Cuba, and they were kept there, some of them for many years, and you know, you heard a lot in the news about that and all that. But that's how we got into Afghanistan. That's how we invaded. Once we got there and we had taken out the government, we tried to make a new government. And we worked with them, and they had elections, and they've had presidents, and we were training their army and training their police and all this that was going on. And after about 20 years, it started becoming where I guess we thought maybe that's enough. We need to back off and let them run it themselves. It's their country. And that's what made the withdrawal. It started with, I think Obama had talked about trying to get out of there, but then there was some things going on that made him want to stay. Then when President Trump was in, he actually met with, not him, but Pompeo, the Secretary of State, met with the Taliban. They set up a timetable for withdrawal and stuff. So it's been going on for a little while that we get out. And then as President Biden got in, they basically set the date and said, we're going to be out of there by this date, and started pulling forces out, and they got forces out. And man, after that, it went downhill fast. They talk about comparing this to Vietnam, but Vietnam, after the United States pulled out, did not fall as fast as Afghanistan did. The South Vietnamese army did fight for a few months. But that was one of the things. I was listening to some of the news reports, and one of the things they said is that they didn't expect the Taliban to take over this fast. Now, I haven't heard anybody say that they didn't think the Taliban could overwhelm the government, that the government could hold it. The thing that I've heard them say is they didn't think it would happen this fast. So they kind of knew that this was going to go down, that the army that they've been pouring millions of dollars in, that they've equipped with the latest in technology, that they provide close air support, that they've trained the police, that they've done all this for 20 years, and they just didn't think it was going to collapse this fast. I heard Biden say one time they thought 6 months to a year that they would be fighting, but they basically said they knew it wasn't gonna last, that the Taliban was gonna take over. Really seems weird to me, but that's just what I kind of pick up from the news and stuff. That's, my thought. But the Taliban said they've changed a little bit. Now, the Taliban were before strict Islamists, and it was an Islamic country, and women couldn't come out unveiled and covered and all of that, and they didn't have any rights. Everything was done through the males in the household. Punishment was swift and hard. There was hands cut off for stealing and stuff like that. So they were pretty strict, but they say they've changed. It says, can we take them at their word? It says the Taliban wants, and this is from a report out of the New York Times from Al Jazeera that I was reading today. It says, or not today, I think it was Friday, but it says the Taliban's once shadowy mouthpiece, Zabullah Mujahid, yesterday promised not to seek revenge on old enemies in the group's first press conference as Afghanistan's new rulers. He also promised to respect women's rights within the framework of Islam and media freedoms, but many Afghanistans doubt this uncharacteristically benign face and still clamor for Western evacuation flights from the capital's besieged airport. The U.S., meanwhile, froze the Afghan central bank's $9.5 billion to keep it from Taliban leaders, who are negotiating with former Afghan government officials like President Hamid Karzai and are encouraging people to return to work. So Afghanistan has $9.5 billion. How'd they get it? Don't know. The United States was able to freeze it, and wondering if we gave them $9.5 billion. Some people were saying that, we left them with a lot of weapons and tanks and guns and helicopters and all of this equipment that we should have took with us. But you have to remember that stuff had been sold to Afghanistan. Even though it was a different government, the country of Afghanistan owns all these guns, tanks, helicopters, all the latest weapons that we've been able to sell to them or lend to them. I don't know what the whole deal is behind that, but I think our military industrial complex has probably made a pretty good amount of money off of sales to Afghanistan of some of the latest stuff. So that money has come back to America, but it's come back into the hands of those that run the military, or not the military, but the industrialists, those that make the guns, that make the tanks, that make the helicopters and stuff. Bell Helicopters or Huey or whoever has probably made some good money over the last 20 years selling stuff to Afghanistan. It's almost like we had opened up a new market for them. But that market is now closed and we can't take it back. It may seem strange that we're leaving it there, but it's theirs. We sold it to them. And it would be hard to justify, taking it back. But now we've got maybe an Islamic country that has some of the latest weapons, some of the best firepower, communications equipment, all of that type of stuff that they didn't have before, at least not in these quantities, they got now. So we've got to be watching what's going to happen with this, with the Taliban, with Afghanistan, how it's going to shake out. I don't think anybody knows what the long effects will be, but it's definitely something that is worth watching, paying attention to. All right. So that's enough about the Taliban and what's going on. The other thing I want to talk with you about, or spend a little bit of my remaining time about, is talking about, we were talking about the internet and the connectivity. And I want you guys to chime in to hit me back, and I'll get back with you on the internet of what you think about it. But what does everybody know, or do you think about having a 5G telephone? You want a 5G phone. What is 5G? Do we know what 5G is, what it's supposed to do, what its benefits are, and why it makes our phones cost more? Other than it makes the phones cost more and they can make a little more money, we need to start looking into 5G. And 5G, as I was looking at, is going to be, it is the new technology standard for broadband cellular networks which cellular phone companies started putting out in 2019. And it is planned successor to 4G, which you got. Now, what it isn't is, I think there's been a lot of conspiracy theories about it and saying that the 5G is what caused COVID and all of that and stuff, or some, conspiracy theorists can have a whole lot of things about it. It's really interesting because you're going to have something else to think about because they're already working on 6G. So, we went from the 2G to 3G to 4G. It's strange that they didn't invent all these diseases with that, but they waited to 5G to bring it out. But that's okay. But 5G is the latest, supposed to be a faster speed of cell phone, not just cell phone, but of internet transportation or data transmitting and receiving. So that's a thing that's coming up now. There's going to be more 5G. They're hoping that with that speed that they've got, the cellular companies are really expecting that that's going to help them with their telephones because you will now be able to watch movies faster, download stuff faster, that the high bandwidth will really, work good. Now, one thing you have to remember is that regardless of what the cell site is and the 5G phones and how fast it can transmit, all of the stuff, and I work for the phone company, so that's one thing I know a little about. All of it still has to go back to a phone company. It could be AT&T, it could be Verizon, it could be somebody else, but all of the transmission from all these antennas is wireless. But once it hits the tower, it goes back into a fiber line or a copper line to get back to the telephone company central office, as they call them, or switching centers, and then get sent through the internet with routers and all of that. So your speed that they'll talk about on the 5G end is just on the 5G end. That doesn't mean from end to end because it can be different. But that being said, it improves the speed on that side. So from your car to the tower, you'll be able to pick up more and faster, which has been one of those last mile, as they call it, things that slowed down the internet, that things could go fast until they got on the tower to go to your telephone. Then they had to slow down to the speed of your telephone. So even if you had a gigabit coming up to the tower of data capacity, your phones could only handle a few megabits. So this is supposed to help that. I'm waiting to see. I've got a new phone and it is 5G capable, so I'll be checking to see what the speeds are. Right now, a lot of my connection says it's just LTE, which is a step in between 4G and 5G. If you've got that on your phone, 4G LTE is what most of the phones are running on now, but the 5G is going to be a little bit faster. The other thing that it's supposed to do is help with the Internet of Things. And what that means is more televisions, refrigerators, all of these other alarm systems and all of that may come with 5G connectivity, because that will be a way of connecting that your phone, your refrigerator, your television, all of that back to the internet. And it makes things a little better. They're also saying that this can help with the driverless cars, that if they're working, because before they had to work on 4G, that was the best we had of getting information from the car to the tower to know where it is, all of that control that it needs if it's going to be a driverless car. Well, 5G will make that a little faster so that you won't have the delay. And latency is a killing thing if you're in a car that it's supposed to be hitting the brakes, but it didn't get the signal for a few milliseconds longer. That could be the difference between somebody having an accident or losing their lives and the car just coming to a stop. So that's one of the things that they're hoping, is that the driverless cars, that your Internet of Things, that there'll be more connectivity. Now there's limits to 5G, like anything else. It's not getting ready to be this whole brand new thing that's going to make the world all great, because there's still a whole network that has to continually be updated to perform. And as you put more things on it, that big bandwidth that we used to have starts getting smaller and smaller. And bandwidth is the size of the pipe that the data goes through. So I know those terms to those that aren't working around technology and stuff can seem a little odd. And we may have to go through some of that to bring everybody up so that you know what you're buying, what you're looking at. And this even goes with computers and everything. If you don't know a lot, sometimes you go and the salesman, they can fill your head up with a lot of jargon and gigabits and nanobits and bandwidth and throughput and things like that. And you're kind of like, okay, is it good? And they say, yeah. And you say, okay, I'll take it. So we do need to know a little bit about it so you don't get hoodwinked. We may do some little videos or a slideshow just to give you the basics of a network because that how it works from your phone all the way through to the other person's phone is amazing, but it can be a little overwhelming too. But, you know, I kind of geek out on that type of stuff, and it's good. But, yeah, so 5G is the new thing. It's coming out with more speeds. It's maybe going to compete with Wi-Fi in your house. Most of your connections when you go in the house is over Wi-Fi. But 5G may be the thing that ends up in some of your routers and stuff now, is that they will use a 5G signal instead of a Wi-Fi signal. Wi-Fi right now, though, I think is as good as 5G. It hasn't put it out right away, but I'll have to do a little more research on that. But that's some of the technology things that are changing and moving up. And those of you that are listening, if you have some insight on the 5G revolution and things that are going to be available and stuff, send us a note. Hit us up on Facebook talking about 5G. Go to KUAW radio on Facebook or on YouTube and tell us what your thoughts are about this new 5G thing. You can even tell us if you think it's causing us to have COVID, if you want to believe that and stuff. And you know, everybody's entitled to be wrong. But yeah, you know, that's something that we need to look at and talk about. Because as this technology keeps moving, as it keeps changing, are we ready for it? Are we ready to take advantage of some of the opportunities that come from it? Or do we get left behind? And that's what we want to do at the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, is to make sure that our community isn't getting left behind in the technology revolution. There are a lot of people that are working, doing great things, and we just have to keep up the momentum. So be sure and let your teachers know, let your school districts know that technology still is important to you. It's still important to your family. It's still important to our livelihoods. It's still important to our community that we stay connected, that we get connected, that we stay connected. So that's my word. That's my soapbox. I'm glad that you were able to join me today. This is the BFTAA and More Show. I'm your host, George Walker. I'm president of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We have robotics team. For those of you that have been signing your kids up, keep giving us the information. Our robotics classes, even though they may be pushed back, we're looking at starting them hopefully by October. So I want to get all the kids enrolled. If you want to enroll your child in our robotics teams, we have a VEX Robotics team that we put together that they'll be building a competition robot. We want you to get in touch with us. Go to our webpage of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, BFTAA.org. In the middle of the page, you'll see a button to push if you want to enroll your child in one of our programs. So go there and enroll your child so we'll have those names. We're trying to make sure we have all the names so that as we get back into our normal facility, we'll be ready to hit the ground running. We want to contact the parents. We want to get you involved for our new robotics season. We're also still looking for a Lego robotics coach. So if you know somebody that would be interested in working with our young people of elementary age with Lego robotics, we could use a Lego robotics coach. So that's all we have for right now. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be glad to see you again next week on the BFTAA and More Show. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.